Okay, so we are back in the sewing room. Today we are going to learn a very basic procedure of how to thread a Juki sewing machine. Now this is a commercial machine, an industrial machine, pardon me, and it has horsepower. It's very, very fast. It runs very well. I just love it. So we should learn a few of the components before we start. So we have this is the wheel over here that you turn to it makes the needle go up and down. I have a light here that I generally keep it this way here and right in front, just so that it shines right on the needle rather than from behind. But that's just my choice. So it's your choice as to which way you want to do it. This is the stitch length, 1 being the shortest, 4 being the longest. Here is the thread tension. Then you have your presser foot. Now your presser foot is run by this lever back here, okay, to lift up. Also, down below, there is a knee lever right there. So if you push that, the presser foot goes up. Now that's very handy when you're sewing because it doesn't take your hands away from the work, so it's more like hands-free. To wind the bobbin is this little shank right here. Okay, that little shank right there winds the bobbin. Okay, and you have also a thread tension guide back here for the bobbin, and then you have the shanks for the spools, and you have the hooks to hook the thread up to when you're sewing and when you're winding the bobbin. So I use this side for the sewing machine, this side for the bobbin. Doesn't really much matter which one you choose to do it with, it's entirely up to you. So now I'm going to set it up to wind the bobbin, because before this is going to be the initial threading. So before you thread the machine, you want to have a full bobbin. Here is an empty one. Okay, we're going to start off with that. Now, if you can, just leave a little bit of thread in there. Okay, I don't have one that's low enough, but just leave a little bit of thread in there. That makes it much easier for the thread to start winding. All right. So you're going to be using 2 spools of the same color thread. So I'm going to be using red. It might be a little easier to see. So first thing I'm going to do, and I use I like the cone spools, just because there's nowhere to get caught. These ones here work just as well, just with no top. These ones, whoops. These ones, they work okay as well, but sometimes where there is that that little cut here for the thread to stop, it might get caught and it gets pulled up. But that's fine. That's something that you can live with. It's not a big deal. All right, but I'm going to be using the cone spool at the moment. So I'm going to put it right on the shank, and I'm going to take and put the thread right up on that hook. Okay. To wind the bobbin, you're going to put the thread in. There's a little hole over here. It has to go through this little hole right there. Yeah, well, if you're lucky, you get it the first time. If not, you try again and again. So I got it through that hole there. Now I'm going to take and go around, hold it here and go around those 2 wheels. This is a bit of a thread tension. It keeps the thread taut right there. I'm going to have to say forgive me for my hand. The iron got me. It actually decided to fall on my hand and burn me. So now I pull the thread through, and this will keep it taut and it'll keep it from knotting. Okay. Now we're going to put the bobbin on the shank over here. Before I do that, because this has no thread in it, I'm going to actually put the thread in through one of these holes, just like that. Put the bobbin right there, pull the thread taut, and then I'm going to proceed to go around it's hard at this angle, I'm sorry, to go around the bobbin, wind it around. So I'm winding it around like this a few times. And then you have to push this in to make sure that it winds. Otherwise this shank won't turn, because this wheel turns the shank and it has to be against the conveyor belt. Next thing you're going to do before you wind is you're going to take and you're going to lift up the presser foot. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is the feed dogs are going to rub against the underneath of the presser foot, and it'll wear on them. It'll be a lot of wear and tear that's unnecessary. So once you do that, then you're going to just, you have to turn on the machine first. That usually helps to turn it on. Then you're going to take the pedal and you're going to press on it. So you press on it, and you see how the needle goes up and down when you press, and the bobbin winds as you press. So you can usually fill it up. Now the beauty of this one here is that this will wind as you're sewing. So you don't need to stop and wind a bobbin, because as you're sewing it'll wind, and this, once it's full, should pop right out. Now I have to say, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the thread will jump onto the shank here and start winding on this side. So you gotta just keep your eye on it. All you have to do is pull it out like this, and nothing happens. So I'm going to remove the thread, or remove the bobbin. All I'm going to do is cut the thread, just like that, and pull out the bobbin. So I've pulled it out. And ordinarily you would have that full. Or sometimes not. If you're not going to be making a big deal or a great large amount of items, you may not need to have the whole thing full. So be judicious. Now the next step is we're going to put the bobbin in its little holder. So this is the holder. It looks like this, and it goes into the machine at the bottom this way. So the bobbin is here, the thread comes out from here. Okay, there's a little groove right there, and there's a little cut right in here. So you're going to be putting the bobbin like that in there, drop it in. You're going to find that little cut. So there's a little cut right there. And you're going to put the thread through there. And then you're going to pull it, and there's a little, almost like a little metal flap here. That has to go underneath it and through a little opening right there. And you have just make sure that it's running smoothly. Now this, you would ordinarily go with your hand, just with your hand underneath, but I'm going to show you where it goes, because if this is the first time you've threaded a machine, you won't really know what to do. So the inside of the machine looks like this, and it has oil and all kinds of good things in there. So this shank is where the bobbin goes into. It goes right into there. So you're going to put it upside down like that, and there's a little lever right here, right there, that this will actually hold the bobbin in place. So you've got your bobbin like this, and you're going to have it with this side up. You're going to take and you're going to put it right into that shank. Sorry, I'm trying to get my hand out of the way. Right into that shank there. Push it in until you hear the click, and then you just leave it. Next step, you're going to thread the machine. This, as I said, is the initial threading. There's no thread anywhere here. So the initial threading, you put your thread on the shank, or the spool on the shank. The thread goes through the hook. Then there's a little shank over here also that the thread has to go through to keep from knotting. And there is a little hole in here. So you're going to take and you're going to put the thread right through that hole, just like this. Just like that. Before you go anywhere, you're going to take that thread and turn it onto this. Okay, I'm going to do it this way, like this way, and down and around. And that way, it keeps the thread from knotting, and it gives another little bit of thread tension. And then we're going to come to these guys right here, okay? And they are threaded like so. Like this, and like this, and like this. Okay. I just wanted to show you a close-up of that. Then you have here another little thing, another little hook over here where this thread gets hooked onto there. And then it goes around. Now these are thread tension wheels right here. So it goes around here, and then there's another little hook over there that makes the thread go up and down. You see that? And then through here, and then there is right up here, there's this little doohickey here, that would be also the technical term, that you put thread from right to left this way, and you have to just thread it. And what this does is it actually keeps the thread nice and taut when it's stitching. There it is. Okay. And then there's this one. And then there's this other one down here. So the thread follows it follows a really smooth path from the spool to the hook, down through the shank, around the wheels, through these guys, down through another hook, around the thread tension, and up through this thread bringer upper, and through these other little loop hooks, and then finally you get to thread the needle. And the needle in this case, sorry, I have to have the light on for that or I can't see what I'm doing. The needle in this case is threaded from right to left, or from left to right, pardon me. It's threaded sideways. Not some machines, domestic machines are threaded front to back, but this particular one is threaded from side left to right. So now I'm going to take and I'm going to actually, I don't know if you can see that, I'm going to cut the thread, but I'm going to cut it on an angle. Scissors to cut would help. I'm going to cut it on an angle, because when you cut it on an angle, it actually finds the eye of the needle very easily. Then I'm going to moisten my fingertips and moisten to if there's any little stray yarns or lint or whatever, and then I'm going to put it through the needle. As I said, from left to right, just going to grab it with the tweezers or my fingers. There we go. And there, it's threaded. Now to get the thread from the bobbin up to the top over here, it's a very simple process. Now what I like to do is I like to give, because this runs on air, I like to give a little bit of air to the foot pedal to make it easier to turn the wheel. Otherwise the wheel just doesn't turn at all. It's very hard. So a little bit of air, and then I'm going to, there you see, the bobbin thread has come up. There it is right there. You're good to go. And you lift up using the knee pedal that I showed you before, and that, as you can see, even over here, it loosens. It does this as well as that. It loosens the thread tension. Now, if you need to tighten it or to loosen it, if the thread tension is too tight or too loose, remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay, so you want to tighten it, you go right. You want to loosen it, you go left. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay, and you don't need to turn it very much. So you turn it, you try it. If it doesn't work, because there's no numbers, domestic machines would normally have numbers, but this one doesn't. I have yet to change the tension on it, no matter what thread I put on there. These machines work really, really well. Now, if you've already have the machine threaded and you just need to change the different color thread, a very easy way of doing it is simply cut the thread right there, remove your thread, your spool, okay, put in the other color that you need up above to the hook, and then you just tie it. Tie it together. I like to tie it with a nice strong knot, so I go once, twice, and then again. And I pull it until it gets really tight. Cut the excess off. Poor machine, poor camera. Then I'm going to actually release the thread tension right here. So that way I just pull, pull, pull. Pull, and there you go. You don't need to thread it again. So the one time is all you have to do it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.